youtube.com/MayhewMayhem. That's youtube.com/MayhewMayhem.
Hello and welcome to another episode of 30 Minutes of Mayhem. I am your host, my name is Michael Mayhew, and I am here with my co-host.
What's up, everybody? It's Raven, and joining us is a man who's the proud owner of a couple crusty comic books.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Greg, and we are joined by the man who is just as unsure of his sexuality as people are about the location of the Malaysian flight.
What's up, everybody? I'm Dale.
Remember, 30 Minutes of Mayhem is available on iTunes, but now, for all the Android listeners out there, we are also available on Stitcher and Spreaker. All you have to do is search MayhewMayhem. That's MayhewMayhem.
And remember, you can also donate to 30 Minutes of Mayhem via PayPal to help us become a better show. Just use the email address in the description, 30minutesofmayhem@gmail.com. Please, we need the money.
Yes, we definitely do need the money. It isn't free the way I did it, because I'm a retard and didn't have my own website at the time that I do now. And it costs us a good little chunk of change to be able to promote the show to external places such as iTunes for the Android market and apps like Spreaker. And primarily the money will first go to that, so that can be covered by everyone's donations. After that, the money will go to buying better equipment that every one of us could use, honestly, but Raven would be the first one to get the best equipment, because she has the worst equipment right now, just saying. So you ever feel like you're behind bars, Dale, with your sexuality? You just can't escape?
Sometimes.
Okay, so this episode's going to be about that, and by that, I mean prison. And our first topic of this evening is going to be people with records getting jobs over people with a college education. So, what do you guys think about this?
I think it's bullshit.
Indeed.
Bullshit.
I guess it really comes down to what your criminal record is for. If it was for something minor, like you were just caught with like a baggie of weed, or like at a traffic violation, or some stupid shit like that, like something that isn't really that big a deal, then you know what I mean. I don't mind that, because it's actually not even that big of a crime. I mean, I wouldn't even say some of those things even are a crime. They're just stupid shit you did. But if you like have a record, like you've been charged with assault multiple times, or you've been charged with robbery and other stupid shit like that, you getting hired instead of somebody who has like a college education and has like their shit together. Even if they don't have a college education, like if they're in college, or like they didn't go to college but they still have their shit together and they are more qualified for the job but they don't get it, that's bullshit. I'm sorry, but just getting it because they're trying to quote unquote reintegrate you into society is absolutely retarded. I'm sorry.
I have to completely agree, and I can speak from personal experience that while I have a clean record, I have no crimes on my record, nor have I committed any that I've gotten in any sort of trouble for. I don't even have a driving record. I've been pulled over once and got a warning for not having taillights because a fuse blew in my car. Now, from personal experience, I've had it happen to me more than once, but I want to talk about one specific example that happened to me. I put in an application because I was goddamn desperate for a job at a Texas Roadhouse. It was just brand new, opening up Texas Roadhouse. Put in an application there, don't even get an interview. Here I am with a completely clean record and one hell of an education. Am I overqualified? If I'm putting in an application somewhere, obviously I want the job regardless of how overqualified I should say, that I am. Obviously I want the job, or else I wouldn't have wasted the time putting in the application. So I don't even get an interview for this place. Don't get a callback, don't get nothing. A gentleman that I know has a record that could stretch from the state of Florida to the state of Washington and back twice. Gets the interview and gets the job. What's he do? He washes dishes. I don't give a shit. I could have washed dishes regardless of how high my education is. I obviously wanted to wash dishes if that's what I put in there for, to have the money. I feel like someone that has a record does not deserve the same chances that I have. I get punished for playing it straight, being good, being a respectable citizen. I should be on your list of people to hire over top of someone that has a record. You fucked up, therefore you have forfeited some of your rights. That's how I look at it. It shouldn't even be a contest. If there's someone that's went through college, they prove their commitment by having a college education, they don't have a record at all, obviously you should be hiring that person over top of somebody that continuously fucks up. But I think a reason why businesses might do this is that they feel like they can control that person over top of controlling somebody that doesn't have a record. Because they could look at you, say they want to reintegrate them into society, as Greg said. They know that they can hold that over top of you. They know that they can say, well, your probation says you have to hold a job, and you're fucking up washing dishes, bro. So you want to keep this job, then you're going to come in and work 45 hours, but you're only going to clock in for 39 and a half, or we'll fire you. And guess what? The person with the record's like, fuck, I can't work anywhere else because I got a record. So guess what I'm going to do? Work 45 hours and only clock in for 39 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
They interviewed someone with a record, like a long, ridiculous record, like being discharged from the Navy for having sex with an underage kid in the Philippines record, and gave them a job. They can't even have a license anymore. They're not allowed to own a license because of how many times they've had, how many DUIs they've had, and how many times they've been pulled over with no license and go to jail. So they hired this person with this ridiculous-ass record, well, at the time I was, 25, over top of a 25-year-old with a college education with a completely clean record. I feel, like I said, the reason that they do that is because they can control the people with the record, because most of the time their probation says you have to carry a job. Like I said, clock in for work 45 hours, but only clock in for 39 and a half, or else we'll fire you. I'm not saying every place does that, but I bet you that happens more times than not.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with both you guys. I've never had that happen to me though, but I've heard of multiple cases to where people that would have a record, maybe not something so bad as far as major like assault charges or anything like that, but multiple. I guess misdemeanor is kind of small, isn't it?
Yeah.
To a point. Yeah, like multiple misdemeanors and stuff like that. And then like next thing you know, you see them with like this job, and I'll see some on Facebook where people are trying to apply to that job and they don't even get it, and next thing you know, this guy got it. But also, I didn't think about it at first, but now that I've heard more about it, I think some companies do that because of the fact that they can hold that stuff over you as far as being more control. It's just like, well, you can't get this job anywhere else because you got that record. You can get it here, but we're going to kind of control your hours, but yet how much you actually work. It's kind of stupid, but I mean, most of those people they're gonna take it anyways because like, fuck, I can't get a job. It's ridiculous how you got these people with like, for instance, your case, all this, college education and everything like that, but they can't get a job because all these companies are hiring pieces of shit, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, my main thing is like you commit multiple crimes, like you forfeit some of your rights by doing that, and I honestly feel like you should not have the exact same chances I should. I should always have a leg up on you for being a good person in society.
Mhm.
If you put us next to each other, automatically the first choice should be me over them. But that's just apparently just not how it works. I mean, the economy's shit, and it's hard as fuck to get a job right now. But you see people that have a record with a job over top of people that applied for the same job that don't. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
From the employer's perspective, if the choice is down to you, someone like you with a college education, and someone like you said who can easily be manipulated and controlled, I can see why an employer would choose the one that's going to easily be controlled, because you could easily 5 months after working at that job find a way better job and leave, and they don't want that. They want someone they can keep there and keep under their thumb. So I think that's why a lot of employers choose the people that they know that they can keep there, especially, with probation hanging over their heads, rather than someone who's overeducated for the position could easily just up and leave for your dream job.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely Definitely see that, but it doesn't make it right.
No, it doesn't make it right. Everybody's struggling for work. I know that, but I'm just going to play devil's advocate there for a second and talk about the employer's perspective, because, it could be 5 months, it could be 3 days before you get that way better job offer, and then they're left hanging high and dry. Damn it, I should have hired the convict.
Right?
The funny thing is with as bad as what it is right now, it's still better than it ever has been, like history-wise. Instead of testing on animals, should we test on people who are serving a life sentence with no chance of parole, no chance of getting out? They're stuck in there until they die. Should we test on those folks instead of testing on animals?
It depends on what life sentence they got, but if they did something pretty fucked up, like for instance something that has to do with rape or something to do with little kids, Nick. But anyways,
He's not in prison though. They haven't caught him yet.
true.
Oh,
Listen
hang
to
on,
this
hang on,
podcast and you will.
hang on. Did that destroy the storyline? Didn't we have a storyline going that he was in prison and that's why he's not on the show?
Oh
You
fuck.
can edit that out.
Yeah, I'll just edit that
Yeah.
out. We'll edit that out.
Anyways, so the thing is, like, it depends on what they have as far as their arrest records and everything. Like little kids, raping little kids, or anything that has to do with some type of sexual assault, rape, murder, anything like that, that will ultimately lead to a death penalty. I believe yes, that we should, and because everybody's not so sure like what will affect certain drugs or certain mental breakdowns or anything that will affect humans. So, we got all this new technology now to create all these new antibiotics or anything like that. So, just pretty much drugs in general or anything that just pretty much needs testing on animals. We're not sure what effects it have on the human body, mind-wise, anything like that. It would save the whole PETA organization and everything. They would
Fuck
basically
PETA.
keep their I mean, fuck those guys, but I'm just saying, like, it would basically create, like, if we're just testing on humans, like, they would, like, get their nose out of it. But then next thing you know, we'll have, like, some kind of religious group and come in and say, stop testing on humans, But either way, there's going to be somebody to dislike what they were going to be testing on, regardless if it's plants, animals, anything like that. I just think you would have better results when it comes to humans.
I gotta say something about PETA real quick. Fuck them. Here's why I say fuck them. A few episodes ago, we were talking about extremist groups that ruin it for everybody else. PETA is the perfect example of that we did not speak of. As much as I believe in animals' rights, I have more compassion for animals than what I do human beings. But they take it too far.
Mm-hmm.
And they, I think, make that movement of animal rights look bad because they take it way too far.
A key point to bring up is that most people are going to have more passion towards animals than humans. And the whole thing of animals killing humans and then we kill the animals, it's not the animals' fault. It's more likely over almost 90% of the time it is our fault. We are in their area, their territory.
That's a whole different argument that could be made there.
I know, I'm just saying, like, there's going to be more passion towards animals, from people than there are going to be towards other people. We have this one, oh my God, this bear just mauled this lady in her neighborhood, and she lives right by a forest. Let's fucking, capture this bear or do something with it. And then you got this guy that's just, raped this little kid. It's like, let's just take him in jail. He'll get taken care of. It's just like, it's not really the bear's fault. So there's more compassion towards animals than there should be at least more compassion towards animals than there are humans. So plus I like
Dale, you
animals.
pretty much said everything that I wanted to say, because basically I was going to say I think we should only do it on the people who are like in for extremely heinous crimes like, rape, child abuse, like mass murder, that sort of thing. But
Dude, I've been sorry to cut you off. I've been seeing a lot of child abuse lately.
He's like, every night I go and beat some random child. I've been seeing so much child abuse.
That's fucked up, man.
I don't have Nick to pick on with this particular subject, so I gotta pick somebody.
Not me.
But anyways, go ahead, Greg.
well, I was just going to say you pretty much said everything I was going to say, Dale. So I mean, you basically covered all the bases for me.
I think it's a good idea to an extent. I think it should be part of the sentence Like if you've committed one of the heinous crimes, it should be part of your sentence. If you brutally harmed somebody specifically to cause pain, then that should be part of your sentence, is to receive some pain. Like when you go to court and you've committed this heinous crime, it should be part of your sentence that you're going into this program specifically meant for, testing drugs on you and testing cosmetics or shampoo or whatever the fuck it is they're doing to all the animals. But it should be done. I mean, you're walking a fine line between punishment and torture. Things like testing drug trials and cosmetics and stuff like that, I don't think would be too harmful for someone to endure. I don't know, like I said, it's a fine line between punishment and torture, but at the same time, like, if you're about to fucking kill someone and you know you're going to prison, it's almost not even a deterrent anymore from the crime. But if you know that nowadays, if you go to prison for doing something like this, you're going to get poked and prodded and used as a guinea pig, basically, it might deter you a little bit more from doing the crime in the first place.
So you're basically saying it should only go up to, you said yes, we should, but only go up to an extent.
Yeah, to an extent. I don't think that everyone that's in prison should be tested on.
I agree that you're dancing a fine line between punishment and torture, and that affects my my thoughts on it. I believe that to do that, the prisoner has to be compensated in some way. Because if not, and you're just like, okay, part of your punishment is we're just gonna stick you with like what the fuck ever we want, that's violating the shit out of human rights. As much as I feel like, they've given up all of their rights, but they haven't given up like all of their rights, if that makes sense. If you committed felonies or whatever, well, this is going back to people that get out, but should you have the right to vote? No. Should you have the right to the equal employment of me that didn't go to prison? No. But should you give up the right to like say I don't want to be stuck with this? I don't want to take that. No, I don't think that right should be taken away, because that's one of the like ultimate human rights. I believe it's at that point it is kind of torture more than it is experiment. So I believe that the prisoners would have to be compensated in some way. Prisoners, they have their like basically their prison bank account, to where they can buy stuff from basically the commissary, if you will. They I want to buy a fucking Kit Kat or whatever. They have like a prison bank account more or less to where they can do that, and get the stuff that they need to get, or is that just jail? Does prison have that too?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so they'd be like, okay, well, if we're gonna stick you with this and you're down with that, we'll give you $150 in your prison bank account, because they can only like buy stuff. It's not like they can go out and buy shit on the streets with it. They would have to reinvest it into the system, if you will. But they'd have to be compensated in some way, shape, or form. You can't just that's taking it too far. Just like part of your punishment is that we're gonna stick you with this fucking virus and then try this antidote out, and if it don't work out, oh well. Because they didn't get a death penalty, they got a life in prison penalty. If they got a death penalty and then you're like, yeah, this shit may kill you, then at that point, I think if you've got a death penalty at that point, you've kind of given up all your rights. They're gonna kill you anyway, so let's do some testing on you. But yeah, I definitely don't think that's a form of punishment. I think that's a form of torture. So like I said, they would have to be compensated in some way. Maybe they get an extra pillow. I don't know. Something.
Here's an extra roll of TP.
Yeah, this roll of TP's on the house. I don't know, but they would have to be compensated in some manner. Like I said, money to use to like buy a fucking Snickers bar, money to use if whatever. They have to be compensated in some way, or else it's just torture, in my opinion.
They do that for the general population too. If you go in and volunteer for a drug trial, you get paid.
Yeah, exactly. And
so I see where you're going.
Yeah, basically you would have to bump up the price a little bit because people aren't gonna just willy-nilly just fucking volunteer for shit. You'd have to bump up the price enough to say, okay, we can't test on gorillas anymore, so we want to test on you because you are the only audience we can test on now. We'll give you $200 if you let us, if you take this pill. Like we'll give you $200 to take this pill for like a month. You know what I mean? So whatever, they would have to be compensated in some way. So, speaking of torture and compensating people serving life sentences in prison, for our third and final topic, let's talk about those folks that aren't lucky enough to just serve out their days in prison, but you know what? They get the finality of things. Those who get the death penalty. Do you believe in it? Yay or nay? And do you think that the system that involves strictly the death penalty in any way, shape, or form should be changed?
Yes, and yes. Only because of I believe in the death penalty and everything like that. The only thing I don't like about it is taking fucking forever for it to actually happen.
Dude,
Some dude could
Texas
sit
has
on.
a fast lane for their death penalty.
Yeah, I mean they do, but I'm just saying for the most part though, like Florida's takes forever. And that's the only thing I don't like about it is depends on the heinous crime, yes, but for the most part, if yours is like really messed up, you should not wait 10 years on death row.
Now, I agree with that, but I gotta say, like, I don't think it should be like, guilty, walk him to the gallows and cut his head off right there. I don't think it should be that.
Well, no, not like that, but I'm
Right.
just saying, like, it shouldn't take, 10,000 years just for somebody to sit on death row,
Walk him to the gallows and then cut his head off. Like, we were gonna hang you, but then we decided to whip out this fucking katana and just cut your fucking head off instead. I made a mistake there. I didn't mean the gallows, but I was making fun of myself.
No, I'm just saying, like, I agree with everything about it. I like the way how Texas handle it. Don't think that they should wait, 8,000 years just to sit on death row.
I agree with the death penalty. I don't agree with the length of time that people sit on death row, as Dale put it. But I believe there should be at least an X amount of time that people have to sit on death row because, like, there is a chance that somebody fucked up and somebody's going to die when they were innocent. So there should be an X amount of time sit on death row, but it should be, like, no more than, X years. Like, you hit 5 years and you've been sitting on, okay, chances are you are indeed guilty. So, let's go ahead and, kill you. Like I said, no, yep, guilty. Take him to the gallows. Hang that motherfucker. Like right there on the spot. None of that. You have to have so much time between it, but there should be like no more than X amount of years. Like I said, using 5 as an example, no more than 5 years. If you've been sitting on death row for 5 years, they speed up the process, and your ass is going to be killed one of the 7 days of the week. And if they have to execute multiple people in one day because their 5 years is up, then they got to fucking do it. Get them people out of the goddamn system and quit clogging it up. We pay enough for the prison system as it is. I believe that the death penalty also needs changed in a manner of people that commit the crazy, heinous crimes. I don't believe they deserve the right to be done with a lethal injection. You're going to put them to sleep and then you're going to kill them? No, they don't deserve that. If they murder somebody by chopping them up with, a fucking butcher knife, and they should be chopped up with a butcher knife, an eye for an eye. If you're convicted of murder, however you murdered a person, that should be how you get murdered. Yeah, that sounds barbaric, but I just straight up like an eye for an eye.
That can be tricky, though. What if you killed 10 people in 10 different ways?
They just put all the ways.
What's your favorite?
No, they put all the ways that somebody killed somebody in a hat and they draw one out. If you tortured somebody for 7 days before you finally killed them, then you should be tortured for 7 days before they finally kill you. Like people all that. How does that make you any better than them? But it really doesn't. But if you want to be like the ultimate piece of shit, then you should be treated like the ultimate piece of shit. Let me make sure that I'm being clear here that life versus death penalty is different. When if you're a murderer and you go into somebody's house and you chop up their entire family with a hatchet, and then you're like, yeah, I did that, and you're sentenced to the death penalty, then at that point, I believe, when it comes down to the very end, you don't have any rights anymore. Like the way they execute you, you've definitely got rid of every single right you have as a human being. You should be chopped up with a hatchet as well. But if you're serving life, you don't sacrifice all your rights of all of them, but not all of them. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. But yeah, I believe in an eye for an eye. I think letting people, I think they're getting too easy. It's too easy. If you go into a house and you kill somebody, you kill an entire family with a hatchet, and here's how you die. You basically get put down like a dog. They put you to sleep and then they put another injection in you and you die. Too easy. You deserve to suffer for something like that.
I think I'm pro death penalty too. For a while I wasn't though. Like I don't know what was wrong with me.
Killing humans is wrong.
Well, not so much that, but I saw this
Hug
movie
the
called
trees. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Fuck you, Mike.
So hang on now. First, well, you're saying fuck you, Dale. Now you're saying like, who is it? Like, which one?
I'm sorry.
Why doesn't Greg get a fuck you? Is it just Dale and I? Or you want Dale and I to rub lizard bellies? Is that what it is?
Ew.
Oh.
Dale, you won't even notice.
Fuck you,
mine's there.
Dale.
Why do I get two of them? That's not fair. I just said ew.
Life's not fair, Dale. Suck it up.
Greg.
Has anyone seen the movie called The Life of David Gale? It is a Kevin Spacey movie.
Go figure.
No.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Kind of old, but it's basically, you just have to watch it. It is a really good movie, and Kevin Spacey is hot. So it's basically about this guy who was on death row, and after they executed him, they found out he was innocent. And that is the only thing that scares me about the death penalty, because too many people can get caught up in it when they were actually innocent. I mean, I'm all about the evil bastards that really do hurt people. Fucking take them off this planet, out of this world, get rid of them because they're not fit to be human beings and living among us. The rest of us natural, cool people. But the only thing that scares me about the death penalty at all is that someone who is innocent could actually be caught up in it. And that movie is the reason why I was on the fence about it for a long time.
That's the way Green Mile was.
So, I mean, I'm all about the death penalty. I'm a yes, but I struggled with it for a long time simply because of that movie. And you guys just have to watch it. It is a really good movie, and Kevin Spacey rocks.
See
and there's a good sex scene in that movie too. Really good sex scene.
Now I'm really gonna watch it.
Okay, so two things on that. One, was never a Kevin Spacey fan until I was very skeptical about House of Cards until I watched House of Cards, and I was like, this is one of the greatest things I've ever fucking seen. And that's pretty much the only thing I've seen with Kevin Spacey in it that I actually like. That aside, that's why I said that you can't just guilty go to the gallows. There has to be some time period, and inside of 5 years or so, I was using that as an example. I feel like the evidence should come out. I know most of the time it probably doesn't come out in such a short amount of time, but you can't have people waiting. In Florida, actually, they either are about to execute the guy or just executed him recently. They committed a crime in 1992.
Yeah.
And has been on death row since then. And here it is 12 years later. And they're just now either just executed him or just now about to execute him. He shouldn't have sat on death row for 12 years. There should be a predetermined time limit. Although, people could work that with the system, if they're like, well, got 5 years and I know he's innocent, but I want him to die, so as soon as he dies, I'll be like, oh shit, it turns out he was innocent because I know the time limit that he's going to be on death row. People could do that, but I definitely say that there needs to be a time limit before the execution happens, and that the execution should be more barbaric than putting somebody to sleep.
Before they put somebody to death, they should really, really look at the evidence to see whether or not they are in fact guilty or innocent, beyond a shadow of a doubt before they do it. However, at the same time, the amount of people who are innocent who end up getting put to death is incredibly small.
Right.
So it's not really that
big of a problem.
That common.
Yeah.
I mean, it still should be done, but it's not as bad a problem as some people might think it is.
So that does it for another episode of 30 Minutes of Mayhem. I have been your host. My name is Michael Mayhew, and I have been here with my co-hosts,
Raven?
Greg.
And Dale.
Don't forget to check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spreaker. Donate to us on PayPal. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and later, fellas.